All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about what really makes a romantic relationship not just survive, but actually thrive. And here's the thing, it's not some kind of magic, it's not luck, it's a skill, a set of mental and emotional tools you can learn. So let's dive in and figure out how to build a connection that can truly stand the test of time.
So let me ask you something, and I think we've all been here. Why is it that a tiny little disagreement, about the dishes or being a few minutes late, can suddenly explode into a massive relationship-ending fight? It's a super common frustration, right? Well, the answer isn't in what you're fighting about. It's actually inside your own head. You see, what's really happening is a battle between two different parts of your brain. On one side, you've got your emotional brain. This is the impulsive, reactive part. It's the one that gives you that instant fight, flight, or freeze gut reaction. But on the other side, you've got your rational brain. This is the calm, analytical, and objective part. And honestly, most arguments are just these two systems completely clashing with each other. Okay, so let's break down what happens when things go completely off the rails. Psychologists have a name for it. They call it an emotional hijack. And it's this deeply, deeply wired survival instinct that can, wreak absolute havoc on our relationships if we don't understand it. Meet the culprit, the amygdala. Think of it as your brain's super-sensitive smoke detector. The moment your partner says something that feels like an attack, even if they totally didn't mean it that way, your amygdala screams, "threat." And before your logical brain can even boot up, it floods your body with hormones, getting you ready to either fight back with angry words, flee the conversation by shutting down, or just freeze up, unable to say anything at all. But here is the really good news. You are not a slave to this impulse. Not at all. We can actually learn, we can train ourselves to get a handle on these reactions and choose to respond with intention instead of just instinct. So let's get into exactly how to do that. I love how psychologist Mihaela Kovtun puts it here. The goal is not to turn into a robot and just squash all your feelings. No way. It's about finding a balance. It's about letting yourself feel what you feel, but also kicking that rational brain into gear to understand why you're feeling that way in the first place. And that leads to probably the single most powerful thing you can do in the middle of a heated moment. Just stop, pause, and ask yourself this one simple question. What is my real goal right now? Is it to win? To prove that I'm right and they're wrong? Or is my goal to connect with my partner and to actually be happy together? Just asking that question can change everything. Okay, theory is great, right? But what do you actually do when you can feel that anger bubbling up? Let's get practical. Here are some real tools you can pull out of your toolkit to de-escalate a fight as it's happening. The very first tool is all about this number, 30. 30 seconds. I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but giving yourself just a 30-second gap between what they said and how you respond can literally be the difference between a healthy conversation and a total meltdown. So here's how the 30-second rule works. Step 1, just pause. Seriously, bite your tongue, take a deep breath, count to 10, whatever it takes to not fire back instantly. Step 2, analyze. In that pause, ask yourself, what is the real emotion behind their words? When they say, "You never listen to me," the unmet need is probably, "I'm feeling invisible and I need to feel heard by you." And then step 3, respond to that need. Instead of getting defensive and listing all the times you did listen, you could say, "It sounds like you're feeling really unheard right now. Tell me more." See the difference? Here's another really powerful trick. It's a mental exercise. Try to detach yourself from the emotion for just a second. Imagine you're watching a movie of the argument. You're just a neutral observer in the audience. What would you think? What advice would you give the people on screen? That little bit of distance keeps your rational brain the space it needs to see things clearly without all that emotional fog. Okay, so we've got the in-the-moment tactics down, but now let's zoom out. Because a truly strong connection isn't just about handling fights well. It's about the entire way you think about your relationship, day in and day out. The big picture. Psychologist Mihaela Kovtun has this brilliant idea of reframing how we see our partnerships. A great relationship isn't something passive that just happens to you if you're lucky. No, it's an active, conscious life project. Think about it like that. It needs a plan, it needs constant work, and it needs a shared commitment from both of you to keep building it, especially when it gets hard. So, what are the rules for this project? Well, first, you gotta focus on the overall balance of positives. One bad argument doesn't just erase a whole month of wonderful moments. Second, and this is huge, You have to replace accusations with needs. Stop saying, you always do this, and start saying, I feel hurt when. It changes the entire game. And finally, you have to keep coming back to that ultimate goal. Connection is more important than being right. Now let's look at how this plays out in a super common situation. You may have heard of the elastic theory. It's often used to describe a tendency, particularly in men, to sometimes pull away when they're stressed or overwhelmed. They need a little space to go into their cave and figure things out. It's not a rejection of you, it's just how they self-regulate. And if that connection is strong, like a stretched elastic band, they'll snap right back. And understanding this completely changes how you should respond. The counterproductive, reactive thing to do is to chase after them, asking, what's wrong? Are you mad at me? Did I do something? All that does is add more pressure. The productive, project-minded response, it's calm, it's trusting, it's simply saying, hey, I'm here if you need me. This gives them the space they need and actually strengthens the trust between you. All right, let's talk about the ultimate insurance policy for your relationship project. We're talking about emotional maturity. And this isn't just about acting like an adult. It is the core skill set that will protect your bond from the biggest, most dangerous threats out there. This right here is such a powerful and critical idea to grasp. The number one threat to a committed relationship, infidelity, it doesn't just randomly happen. It doesn't start with a physical act. It starts way, way before that. It begins with a disconnection in the mind and in the soul. It's a symptom of a much bigger problem. When you boil it all down, infidelity is simply an immature solution to a grown-up problem. It's a way of trying to get your needs met or escape from problems by completely avoiding the hard, mature work of communication and connection inside the relationship. So this is how maturity acts as a shield. It's the ability to manage that emotional hijack we talked about at the beginning. A mature person can feel an impulse, but choose not to act on it. They prioritize the long-term life project over some short-term gratification. They know how to build and respect healthy boundaries. But most importantly, they commit to doing the work to get their needs met with their partner, which makes the bond stronger, instead of seeking solutions outside of it, which breaks it. In the end, all of these tools, all of these mindsets, they're all designed to build a connection so strong that this quote becomes your reality. I mean, this just says it all, doesn't it? The true art of connection isn't about never fighting. It's about creating a partnership where your first instinct, whether you're struggling or you're celebrating, is to run towards each other, making that bond the safest, strongest, and most wonderful place you can possibly be.